Right. Good afternoon, Chairman and members. My name is Luke Metzger. I'm the Executive Director of Environment Texas. We're a nonprofit advocate for clean air and water and parks and wildlife with about 30,000 members and supporters all around the country. And so excited to have this opportunity to talk about state parks. Is one of my favorite parts about Texas. And I was a Boy Scout growing up, and spent some of my favorite memories are of spending time in the great outdoors. And as a father now, it's just so rewarding to share those same kind of experiences with my kids, to just let them run free in the woods and build fires and swim in the rivers. And it's for my family and many Texans, it's an affordable vacation. Most of us, 99% of us, don't own our own stretch of land in the country. And so it's a place that we can actually get out there. And especially during the pandemic, when we were all cooped up and getting on each other's nerves, just, so valuable to just get outside. When my kids, got outside, the bickering stopped, and just, everyone's mood improved. And the science backs that up, that, our parks, exposure to parks really improve mental and physical health, especially for children, where spending time outdoors, makes kids healthier, happier, better cognitive performance. And so many benefits for our parks from the recreation perspective, and then of course also for the spending on in tourism, local communities, the protecting of drinking water supplies, and protecting habitat for wildlife. And so the charge today, in this interim charge, and thanks to the Speaker and the Chairman, Representative Israel, for your role in bringing this before the committee, is to make sure that we are ensuring public access to our parks. And as Mr. Rhodes discussed and Representative Clardy mentioned, we're not always doing that. Too often our parks are hitting their capacity limits and turning people away. And that's, we've got basically more demand than we have supply. And we know that more than 10 million people visited our state parks last year, but many more weren't able to go there because the campsites filled up too quickly, or like in my case, 2 different times I took through my family in the minivan, drove out to McKinney Falls State Park, only to find that capacity limit sign, and we're like, all right, turn around, kids, we're not going to the state park today after all. And that's just the experience for too many Texans. And so on the supply side, there was a report done by Texas Tech back in 2001 that estimated that Texas would need to add more than 1.4 million acres in order to keep up with public demand by 2030. And unfortunately, we just haven't kept pace with the need. We haven't opened a new state park really in about 20 years. And back in 2004, the Parks Department set a goal of adding 4 5,000-acre parks near our biggest cities, which are particularly underserved and challenging. We still haven't even hit that goal. Palo Pinto Mountains will be one, Powderhorn Ranch hopefully soon thereafter. But we're far from setting even achieving modest goals that the department has set. As I mentioned, some areas are particularly underserved in the Rio Grande Valley. There's only 5 campsites in the entire valley of 1.3 million people, and so that's really adding to a lot of people being turned away. Memorial Day weekend of last year, there wasn't a campsite available within 100 miles of Austin, and that's a peak time that people want to go camping. I've been asking Texans to share their stories of challenges of getting in our state parks. I can share with you a couple now. Becky from Austin said, inspired by the promotion to spend New Year's Day at our park, our family of 4 drove the 2 hours from Austin to Enchanted Rock and were turned away. Rick from Caldwell County says, our family loves going to many of our state parks at least twice a year. We've experienced long waits at Garner and others, especially during peak times, which has caused us to plan trips far in advance and during off-season. Sometimes we've needed to use PTO to go on weekdays because the weekends are all booked. Another family told me, too many times to count, we missed out on getting a campsite at Colorado Bend State Park even months in advance because they were all booked. We're now in the habit of planning camping trips 6 to 9 months out, which is really preposterous if you think about it. Sometimes we end up having to cancel because of conflicts that come up in the half year that happens between the reservation and the trip. And those are the kinds of stories we're just hearing over and over again. And so, at the same time, we're seeing that with our rapid population growth, we're also quickly transforming kind of our iconic rural heritage and countryside. About 10 football fields of land, of prairies, forests, farms, and ranch are converted into development every hour in Texas. And at the same time, land prices are only getting more expensive. The best time to build a state park would have been 20, 30 years ago. The next best time is now, and we need to be investing in the next 100 years to make sure that our grandkids, and great-grandkids do have places to go before they're lost forever. We know that encroachment, that development that's happening is encroaching right up against our state parks. For example, here at McKinney Falls, there's development right up on the border now, and they actually had to move a trail. The Parks Department's moving a trail because right now, if you walk on it, you'd be seeing buildings right there, which is not what people want to do. They want to get out and feel a sense of the wilderness, not see a bunch of development. And then at the same time, that rapid growth is also means that wildlife. We have 221 species that are on the endangered and threatened species list, in part because of loss of habitat. We need to be setting aside more and more places for wildlife to live and thrive. So Prop 5, again, as we've heard, a big success story, long overdue, and finally the department's really catching up on that backlog of repairs, having more consistent staffing, and now able to open some new parks. My understanding to your question, Representative Clardy and Chairman King, about the land acquisition funds is that $7 million were appropriated for this biennium, which is, I believe, the first time in decades that the legislature has actually put money into land acquisition. And then thanks to the success of the sporting goods sales tax, the department was able to get another $5.8 million for this biennium for land acquisition. So $12.8 million, which is good since we hadn't had that before in decades. But that doesn't go very far, right? We're going to need, if it's $15 million for Fairfield, that's saving one park that otherwise would be lost to us. We're not gaining any, right, unless we're making a big investment. There's another Prop 5 that's really important to Texas parks history, and that was one back in 1967 when the legislature sent a bond to voters that was the equivalent of about $560 million in today's dollars to invest in land acquisition. And thanks to those funds, we were able to buy Big Bend Ranch and some of the other iconic places. And we think now, with this 100-year anniversary that we're about to embark upon, is a great time to do something similar, do something bold and inspiring, and help preserve these lands before they're lost forever. Thankfully, next year is looking to be pretty good for the budget, $27 billion that are available. Lots of important causes and things that you could use that money for. Texas 2036 did a poll last year that found that 68% of Texans, including strong majorities of Republicans, Democrats, and independents, would support spending $1 billion to acquire new state parks and to expand existing state parks. And so, I think, clearly the need is there, to hit that goal that Texas Tech initially set out of 1.4 million acres by 2030. We would need, billions of dollars, right? $6 billion at least, probably. So making a sizable investment this session, whether it's using funds from the surplus or creating a trust fund like a number of states have, would really help go a long way. Texas, we have 89 state parks. My family's also working to visit every one of them. Caprock Canyons is next on our list. I'm very excited about that. But we know that Texas actually ranks pretty low when it compares to other states for state parks. We're 35th in the nation for state park acreage per capita. We have 89 state parks. California has 279 state parks. Florida has 54% more acreage per capita than Texas does. So we're falling behind, and that means that we're not serving the people. We're not ensuring that public access. And so really hope that the legislature this next session really, goes big and, makes history with a big investment for our parks. Thank you. Yeah.
When I go to a state park, because they're so well maintained and they're clean, and they do a great job. And so when you see something destructive, or it kind of sticks out. And the old McKinney House had been vandalized last summer when I was out there.
Oh, wow.
Did we get that? Do we know if we cleaned that up, or it was a real eyesore for that park and I was just curious if you had any information on that.
I don't. I hadn't heard about the vandalism. That's terrible.
Yeah.
The spray paint and stuff.
Yeah, it was, and but overall, our park employees do a wonderful job.
Absolutely.
Keeping those things clean, and while there's always a need for better infrastructure, that part of it is exceptional.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. And then, that was my only question for you, Representative Fisher.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman. Luke, thanks for your discussion today. I think you're able to say what our state employees cannot say, and that is, we've got to put more money into our state parks.
Right.
And we're looking at being good stewards, and so thank you for reminding us of where we were hoping to have been by this point and how far behind we are.
Right.
So it's it's really important and I know that we're all trying to, as our state grows in diversity, I want more people of color to experience the outdoors and build family memories, and build a respect for the environment and the outdoors too. So thank you for your voice and for your advocacy. I think it's going to be really important with this next legislative session to be more urgent about the planning efforts that are underway. I appreciate the fact that we're fixing to do things, but I need us to start doing things.
Right.
So thank you for being here today again.
You bet. Thank you.